يا سلام، تسلم ايديكي. ما تاكل يا حسين، الصنف ده عاملاه مرات عمك برجليها بايديها.
مفيش غير عيلتين بس هما اللي يعرفوا يعملوه.
ايه القرف ده؟
قرف؟ ده قرف؟ الكريبس في زيت قرف؟ انت لا بتستطعم اكل ولا شرب.
ما تاخديش بالك من بهيج، اصله لسه صغير وطايش.
Welcome back to another episode of Ancient Egyptian Language Revival. In the last episode, we dealt with some ancient Egyptian literature and the story of the shipwrecked sailor. Like we have said, this story is preserved only on one single papyrus in hieratic writing. In this episode, we want to present you the procedure on how to deal with a hieratic text if you want to translate it. But before we do that, we want to repeat how to read Egyptian hieroglyphs and how to use the Gardiner-Liste, which we have already learned in episode 2. As we have learned, there are uniliteral signs, biliteral signs, triliteral signs, and determinatives. The word Kemet means Egypt and consists of one biliteral sign, two uniliteral signs, and a determinative. These can be found in the book Middle Egyptian by James P. Allen as well as in the Gardiner-Liste. I'm here in the book Middle Egyptian by James P. Allen on page 26. Here you find the biliteral signs. Also, the crocodile tail is on this page. But how do we use this table? The crocodile tail is in this row, so the first consonant of this bilateral sign is K. And the crocodile tail is in this column, so the second consonant of this bilateral sign is M. So the crocodile tail is read Kem. I'm here on page 14 of the book Middle Egyptian by James P. Allen. Here you find the uniliteral signs. You also find the two uniliteral signs of the word Kemet here. Here you have the owl M, and here is the bread loaf T. I'm here in the book Egyptian Grammar by Sir Alan Gardiner. Here you find all the signs and determinatives. The Gardiner-Liste is divided in different sections. Section A illustrates man and his occupations. Section D shows, for example, parts of the human body. In section E, you find mammals. The determinative that is in the word Kemet that we are looking for is in section O, buildings, parts of buildings, etc. I really recommend you to go through all the signs in the Gardiner-Liste because this gives you a better understanding and feeling for the hieroglyphs. You also find the word Kemet on the Egyptian 100-pound banknote as well as on the 200-pound banknote. This was a revision and an extension on how to read Egyptian hieroglyphs. In contrast to university courses and our videos here, the ancient Egyptian students learned to read and write hieratic before they learned to read hieroglyphs. Hieratic was the ancient Egyptian script for writing on papyrus and other materials, while hieroglyphs were roughly said mainly used for inscriptions on stone. What you see in front of you is a part of the so-called Papyrus Harris. This papyrus deals with the reign of Ramses III and, among other things, his interactions with the so-called Sea People. In this part of the text, the word Kemet occurs twice, written in hieratic writing. Let's transcribe together the word Kemet from the hieratic writing into hieroglyphs. For the transcription from the hieratic writing into hieroglyphs, the most common method at universities is the use of a paleography. One of the most influential paleographies is that of Georg Möller. Hieratische Paläographie, die ägyptische Buchschrift in ihrer Entwicklung von der 5. Dynastie bis zur römischen Kaiserzeit. It is a German book, but don't worry, you don't need any German skills to use the tables inside it. It is divided into 3 volumes. Here you will find the hieratic characters as they are written on different papyri and their corresponding hieroglyphs. In this paleography, you leaf through until you find the character that resembles the character you are looking for from your papyrus. And that's how you transcribe hieratic characters into hieroglyphs. The first sign we are looking for is this one here. When you go through the paleography, you will find the sign in volume 2, page 35. Row 392 shows the sign tabulated from different papyri written with different hieratic handwritings and their corresponding hieroglyph. The next sign we are looking for is this one here. You find it in volume 2, page 17, again in different hieratic handwritings from different papyri representing the owl M. Now we look for this sign in the paleography. You find it in volume 2, page 52, and it shows the bread loaf T. Now we look for our last sign in the paleography. It is in volume 3, page 32, row 339, and it shows the determinative for village, city, or country. We have now transcribed together our first word from hieratic writing into hieroglyphs. Miotin. Now I want to go more into this section of the Papyrus Harris. And I want to point out some words occurring in this text that are still used today in the Egyptian Arabic language. I will go into 3 parts. At the top you see the original text like it is written on the Papyrus Harris in hieratic writing. Further down you see the transcription of the text from the hieratic writing into hieroglyphs. This is the transliteration into the European system, which you find in James P. Allen's book Middle Egyptian on page 14. And at the bottom you find the translation into English. In the first part Ramses III narrates, I expanded the borders of all Egypt. The word for border is here in the singular tash and in the plural tashu. The word tash is still used in the Egyptian Arabic language when you want to say that a person lives on the borders of society. So this person is an outcast or a thug. The adjective is in the Egyptian Arabic language tayish, and its corresponding noun is tish. These words are often used to describe young problematic people, like in the following movie clips.
ما تاخديش بالك من بهيج اصله لسه صغير وطايش امسحيها بدقني.
وين لزوم الكذب ده يا فاطمه؟ ده جبان اخويا ابن الحاج طاهر ما هوش جبان، ده طش شباب.
In the second part, Ramses III narrates about the so-called sea people, Shiranda and Washash of the sea. They were made non-existent by being caught together, being taken to Egypt as spoils of war, like the sand of the shore. I want to go into the word sea, which is in this text yom. The word yom is originally a Semitic word. The word for sea was in the 5th episode where we talked about the story of the shipwrecked sailor, Wajwer. This is because the story of the shipwrecked sailor is written in Middle Egyptian language and is therefore older than the Papyrus Harris, which is written in late Egyptian language. This is an example for the influence of the Semitic languages on the Egyptian language in the time of the New Kingdom of Egypt. Also, the name of the oasis Fayoum, southwest of Cairo, can be derived etymologically from Pa-Yum, which means the sea or the lake. In front of the word Yum stands the masculine article Pa, which was a masculine demonstrative pronoun in the Middle Egyptian language and has become, in course of time, the masculine article P in the Coptic language. Since the second intermediate period and in the time of the New Kingdom, a lot of Semitic loanwords were adopted into the Egyptian language. Like for example the word telg for snow, markaba for chariot or today boat or ship, and the word salam for peace. In the third part, Ramses III narrates, I made them pay taxes with clothes and grain from the treasury and barn every year. The word barn in this text is still used today in the Egyptian Arabic language and is pronounced shona.
هم الرجاله ودوا الدور الشونه ولا لسه مدبولي؟ ايوه امال من ساعه زمن عم الشيخ متولي. طيب.
بسوقوا خين تشيقونا.
There is also an Egyptian phrase you use when you want to say that all your efforts were in vain. The phrase goes, all my digging led to a barn, a shona. This phrase reflects the disappointment of treasure hunters who did only find a forgotten barn instead of grave goods and treasures.
انت حظك من السما يا قام، اتعينت خلاص عند البيه المأمور.
باين عليها بنت حلال، فوت على البيت المركز يديك الحلاوه.
استغفر الله، حلاوتنا رضاكوا يا ست هانم. بس يا ست هانم البيه المأمور ناسي شعبان خالص.
ازاي؟
كل اول شهر انتظر اسم ابن عليوه ينزل بكشف الغفر ونك بيطلع على شو.
We are now at the end of our episode. I hope we have learned a lot together and that I see you in the next episode. Ugay!